The early winter morning in Yeongjin, Gyeonggi Province, carried the familiar chill that seeps into the air long before the sun climbs over the horizon. Yet, despite the cold wind sweeping across the training grounds of the 25th Infantry Division, excitement buzzed restlessly among the crowd gathered outside its tall iron gates. Fans wrapped in scarves and heavy coats held banners and small hand warmers, their breath forming thin clouds as they waited for the moment they had anticipated for nearly 18 months, the return of Song Kang from his mandatory military service. By 8 a.m., several media vans had already occupied the road leading up to the base. Reporters adjusted their equipment, murmuring among themselves about the expected timeline of the discharge ceremony. The crisp sound of boots marching inside the compound occasionally pierced through the murmur of voices, creating the tense but warm atmosphere often seen in Korea when a beloved celebrity completes enlistment. The mood felt strangely nostalgic, almost like the finale of a long-running drama that fans had followed from afar. At precisely 9:03 a.m., the gates slid open. A wave of excitement rippled through the crowd. Then he appeared, wearing a neatly pressed military uniform and a beret slightly tilted to the left. Song Kang stepped into view. His face looked more defined, the sun and wind having carved maturity into his once boyish features. His posture was straighter, his steps calmer. But the warmth in his eyes remained unmistakably familiar, the same warmth viewers had fallen for in dramas like My Demon and Nevertheless. As he approached the fans, spoke into a shy smile, bowing deeply, his voice respectful yet touched with emotion. "Thank you for waiting," he said. "I finished my service well." Camera shutters erupted in rapid fire, capturing every angle of the actor's long-awaited return. Fans cheered his name, their voices cracking slightly with excitement. Some cried softly, others simply waved their banners with trembling hands. It was a scene that felt straight out of a K-drama, the soldier returning home, the wind carrying the applause of those who cherished him. After greeting the fans, Song Kang proceeded to a small table arranged by the media team for a brief press session. A white backdrop displaying the military division's insignia stood behind him, contrasting sharply with his dark uniform. He took his seat, adjusting his gloves nervously as reporters leaned forward, sensing something more than just routine comments. A Yonhap news reporter raised her hand and asked in a clear, steady voice that echoed faintly across the concrete ground, "During your service, was there someone you especially missed?" It was a simple question, one asked routinely to many celebrities upon discharge. But the reaction it drew from Song Kang was anything but routine. His eyes widened slightly. He let out a small, involuntary laugh, the kind people give when they are caught off guard but trying to play it cool. He brought a hand to the back of his neck, it with a familiar gesture of embarrassment. The corners of his ears turned noticeably pink, betraying him long before he opened his mouth. "Well," he said slowly, choosing his words with exaggerated care, "there was one person I thought about the most." He paused. Reporters blinked, waiting. Fans held their breath, leaning forward as if collectively pulled toward the microphone. But then he smiled, small, soft, and impossibly telling. "I won't say the name," he added, "but someone very precious." The crowd erupted in gasps. Twitter and Korean community platforms like the Ku and Pan exploded instantly with comments. "Who is it? Why is he smiling like that?" Reporters exchanged glances. And then, almost as if the entire nation had rehearsed the thought together, a single name surged to the top of every trending list. Kim Yoo-jung. It wasn't an unreasonable leap. The chemistry between Song Kang and Kim Yoo-jung in My Demon had been one of the greatest highlights of Korean television that year. Their behind-the-scenes interactions had been so natural, so easy, so overflowing with warmth that viewers had openly rooted for the two to become a real-life couple. Before he enlisted, videos of Song Kang shyly watching Yoo-jung during interviews and Yoo-jung bursting into laughter at his jokes had circulated endlessly. Fans had written entire essays decoding the way he looked at her, the way she touched his arm, the way they seemed to drift toward each other even when the cameras weren't rolling. So when the actor admitted, in front of dozens of cameras, that there was one person he missed the most, the internet didn't need much coaxing to connect the dots. As the press session continued, Song Kang attempted to maintain his composure, yet his cheeks remained uncharacteristically flushed, and his eyes frequently darted away whenever the topic circled back to personal matters. When asked what he wanted to do first now that he was free, he answered, "I want to meet someone important to me, Someone I haven't seen in a while. Again, no name. Again. That same hesitant but undeniably warm expression. Reporters were quick to note that he avoided general statements about work or family, the usual safe answers celebrities opt for. Instead, he referred to one person. Repeatedly, almost carefully. As though protecting that person's identity with both sincerity and subtle affection. After the press conference concluded, Kang stepped off the platform and walked toward his van. But before entering, he paused, out his phone, glanced at the screen, and smiled, gently. Most unconsciously. Paparazzi cameras zoomed in, catching the moment with remarkable detail. The screen was blurred. Fans noticed one thing, a notification from a contact name that began with the letter K. And just like that, SNS went wild. Meanwhile, his movements after Discharge raised even more speculation. Instead of heading straight home, Kang's first stop was Hanam-dong, a high-end neighborhood known for its quiet, discreet cafes frequented by actors. Fans who followed his van recorded him stepping into Holly's Hanam flagship, a place where Kim Yoo-jung had been spotted recently during a photoshoot session. Inside the cafe, a witness later told reporters that Kang looked relaxed but slightly anxious, constantly checking his phone, smiling whenever it buzzed. A vanilla latte sat near the window with a winter light casting soft shadows across his features, and appeared deep in thought. Around the same time, across the city at Bukit Kim Yoo-jung was seen browsing books in a quiet corner, wearing a black beanie and a thick ivory coat. She appeared calm, but fans who recognized her said she smiled more than usual, eyes crinkling adorably above her mask. The fact that they appeared in two locations just 10 minutes apart sent the internet spiraling into a frenzy. Some speculated that they were planning to meet. Others argued that they already had. Regardless of who the one person truly was, one thing was undeniable: Kang's first day as a free man in nearly 2 years had turned into one of the biggest celebrity moments of the season. That evening, Korean news outlets released editorials attempting to interpret Kang's unusually candid confession. Some suggested it was simply a playful response. Others believed it was a deliberate signal. The romantic segment of the internet, by far the loudest, believed it could be the beginning of a real K-drama unfolding before their eyes. As dusk settled over Seoul and the city lights flickered on, a handful of dedicated fans continued tracking sightings from Hanam-dong to Cheongdam-dong. One follower claimed she saw Kang meeting someone at a small cafe known for its private rooms. Another reported seeing a familiar silhouette near the entrance of a boutique store. Whether these claims were true or merely fueled by excitement, the anticipation was irresistible. As the sun slipped behind the skyline of southern Seoul, final golden streaks of light brushed across the polished glass buildings of Cheongdam-dong. The streets, softened by early winter dusk, under the gentle halo of shop lights and passing car beams. It was in this calm, subdued atmosphere that Kang's black van slowly rolled to a stop in front of Soiro Cheongdam, a quiet, upscale cafe known among actors for its private second-floor seating and its strict no-camera policy. Witnesses said the moment Kang stepped out, more relaxed than he had earlier at the military base. Uniform had been replaced by a cream knit sweater, black slacks, and a long navy coat, the kind of understated outfit he wore during drama press tours. His hair, freshly trimmed but not styled, fell naturally across his forehead, giving him a gentle, youthful air despite the sharp jawline that had deepened during enlistment. Inside the cafe, a barista later shared with reporters that Kang sat near the window, facing the quiet street. He ordered a warm honey milk tea, a drink he had once mentioned during a My Demon interview as his comfort beverage. As he waited, he repeatedly checked his phone, faintest smile tugging at the corner of his lips every time the screen lit up. From the outside, he looked like a man simply enjoying his first day of freedom. But to fans, something about the scene felt almost cinematic, as though he was waiting for someone. Meanwhile, across the river, Kim Yoo-jung was finishing up a small photoshoot near Kyungladan Road. It was an unplanned assignment. According to her agency, a quick promotional shoot for a winter campaign. She appeared in a pale beige coat and soft curls resting around her shoulders. Her styling effortlessly elegant as always. Passers-by described her mood as bright, almost glowing, as she wrapped up the final shots. But what caught everyone's attention was what happened afterward. Instead of returning home or heading to another scheduled activity, Kim Yoo-jung was seen entering a small book cafe, Arkan Book Itaewon, a cozy labyrinth of shelves, amber lighting, and warm air still smelling faintly of roasted beans. It was the same cafe she had been spotted at 2 weeks prior, and coincidentally, the same one Song Kang had posted a photo from just before his enlistment. The coincidence was enough to set the internet ablaze. It was more. A fan who claimed to be inside the cafe at the same time recalled that Yoo-jung spent several minutes standing in front of the romance section, running her fingers across the spines of the books. At one point, she received a message, her phone vibrating softly. She glanced at it, and smiled. A small smile that made her eyes crinkle above her mask. Fan said, it wasn't a work message. You can tell when someone is reading a work message. This was different. The timing only intensified the speculation. Exactly 6:37 p.m. Only 8 minutes after Yoo-jung's sighting, someone photographed Song Kang stepping out of Soi Road Cheongdam, phone still in hand, walking toward the parking lot with a subtle but unmistakably happy expression. As the media attempted to trace his next destination, his van took a detour toward Garosu-gil in Sinsi-dong, a trendy street filled with boutique shops and discreet lounges frequented by celebrities seeking privacy. Inside one of those lounges, Moonlit Hannah, a minimalist bar known for being a regular hangout of actors, stylists, and film producers, a staff member later confirmed that Song Kang arrived shortly after 7 p.m. He was shown to a private booth. When asked who he came with, staff member refused to answer. But their hesitation alone sent the rumor mill spinning. Rumors grew louder when a stylist who had worked on My Demon anonymously messaged a fan forum. I'm not saying they're dating. I will say this, their chemistry didn't end when the cameras turned off. Her message was deleted minutes later, but screenshots had already spread. Another production assistant from the same set added fuel by sharing. Song Kang always checked on her between scenes. Communicated with just eye contact sometimes. It didn't look like acting. The online world exploded. On Korean forums, users pieced together timelines, photos, interviews, and video clips, eating every fragment like part of a grand puzzle. One particularly viral post compared the way Song Kang looked at Kim Yoo-jung during the My Demon wrap-up party to the expression he wore during his military discharge interview that morning, an expression that seemed gentle, shy, and noticeably full of something unnamed. Others recalled an interview from 2 years ago in which Yoo-jung had described her ideal type as someone warm, patient, and sincere. Fans found the similarities uncanny. Many pointed out that Song Kang had once described Yoo-jung as a person who makes everything feel comfortable, even on tiring days. The romantic frenzy grew so intense that several mainstream Korean entertainment outlets ran headlines like, "Is Kim Yoo-jung the person Song Kang missed most during enlistment? Coincidence or fate?" Song Kang and Kim Yoo-jung spotted in matching districts hours apart. Industry insiders speak, is there something more between the My Demon co-stars? Even international media chimed in. Fans from overseas adding their own theories, dissecting body language, analyzing timelines, tracking geographical proximity like seasoned investigators. But perhaps the moment that shifted public perception most happened later that night, when Song Kang finally participated in a formal, post-release interview inside his agency's office in Mapogu. Dressed in a simple white shirt and black cardigan, sat in a quiet room surrounded by soft lights and minimal decor, a stark contrast to the media frenzy outside. A reporter asked directly, without euphemism or hesitation, "Is Kim Yoo-jung the person you missed during your military service?" Song Kang didn't answer immediately. He took a breath, looked down briefly, then lifted his gaze, and smiled. Not a broad or evasive smile, but the small, soft kind that reveals more than words. Response, when it came, was careful but telling. "Someone who supported me during difficult times, someone very precious." He didn't say her name, but he didn't nod either. K entertainment, silence can be a shield. But ambiguity is often the closest thing to admission. And on that night, ambiguity spoke louder than any confirmation. The interview, Song Kang returned to his van. Cameras outside caught him stepping onto the sidewalk, glancing once more at his phone, and smiling again, that same subtle smile that had driven fans wild all day. As he entered the car, screen was briefly visible, a message notification from a contact saved under the letter K. Hours later, Kim Yoo-jung posted a simple photo on her Instagram story, a blurred night skyline with a caption, "A warm day." She included no hashtags, no explanation. But the timing was impossible to ignore. Night, Korea's largest search portals were flooded with articles, posts, and trending hashtags. Forums buzzed with analysts breaking down every detail. Romantic fans celebrated the idea of a potential real-life K-drama. Skeptics surged question. But nearly everyone agreed on one thing. For someone just discharged from military service, Kang looked like a man carrying something soft in his heart, the kind that grows quietly, steadily. Perhaps, inevitably. As dawn approached the next morning, an analyst from Dispatch wrote in a commentary, whether the person he missed is Kim Yoo-jung or someone else, the way he spoke, the way he smiled, tells us that Kang came back with a heart full of sincerity, and perhaps, longing. And so the story ended not with a declaration, but with a lingering question that kept fans glued to the screen. Refreshing pages for updates. Hoping for more glimpses into a romance that seemed to hover somewhere between rumor and possibility. Between professional respect and something deeper. Something almost cinematic. A truth hinted at, but not yet spoken. A mystery softened by smiles, blurred photos, and Seoul's quiet night air. The spaces between those moments. One unforgettable question remained. Kim Yoo-jung the one he missed most, or simply the one he can no longer hide?